Tonight on Gangs of Oz, the incredible story of the Italian Mafia, right here in Australia.
I was amazed back then how organised they were.
Our ex-undercover cop takes us into the grubby world of mafia gangs, how they ruled with corruption and fear, and ordered ruthless violence, murder, extortion.
A parcel bomb delivered to the office exploded near 2 men.
All to protect their lucrative drug rackets.
It was amazing. It actually disappeared into the heat wave on the horizon. That's how large it was.
Take your clothes off, mate.
And the extraordinary lengths this undercover cop had to go to in order to keep his cover.
Take your fucking clothes off. I'm not taking my clothes off.
From new drug deals to prostitution, for 6 years Damien Marrett gave the performance of his life.
After dealing with the Italians for the last 3 or 4 months, it was obvious that I had no reason not to enjoy a prostitute.
It's a deadly world where the violence continues, even after death.
Come on, stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Come on!
Australia has its own homegrown version of the Mafia. Its roots are from Italy's poor south, the region of Calabria.
Oh, shut up, you...
In Australia, its power grew after World War II when thousands of Italian migrants, some with Mafia connections, made their way to Australia.
The Calabrians have been involved in criminal activity spanning cannabis production, heroin, cocaine, ecstasy, hashish importation, insurance frauds, other types of frauds, through to money laundering, to passport offences.
With all organised crime, there is a hierarchy, a leader. With the Mafia, it's a godfather.
There are people who would be identified as godfathers, but they don't in fact rule the organisation as they do in Italy. They are more of a father figure from whom people seek counsel and or get advice.
Back in the 60s, the Australian Mafia had its roots here at Melbourne's Queen Victoria markets. Sellers paid the Mafia a cut to have their produce sold, and wholesalers paid a levy to buy the produce at a particular price.
In money terms, they were among the most lucrative returns in those days compared with, say, backstreet gambling in Victoria or small-time brothels. It was very lucrative and it made the then Mafia very powerful in Victorian terms.
Because of the money involved, there was a continual battle for control, often ending in death. The first to go was this man, Calabrian-born Vincenzo Angeletti. He was blasted to death on April 4, 1963. Then on January 16, 1964, Calabrian-born Vincenzo Muratori assassinated. Payback for the first shooting of Angeletti. These shootings shook up Menzies-era Australia. It was clear to everyone the Mafia had arrived.
To the government and the law, this is the first step on a one-way road to ruin. But in the well-locked rooms where the pot smokers gather, there is no debate on the rights or wrongs.
Fast forward a decade later, when marijuana became the drug of the 70s, the Mafia seized an opportunity to make megabucks. It was really easy. They had the connections of the fruit growers that supplied the markets, and pretty soon they were growing more than just fruit. By the early 70s, the Mafia was making millions from their marijuana crops around Griffith in country New South Wales.
People in Griffith were showing unexplained wealth. There was houses being built down there referred to as grass castles. The rumours were that there was a lot of marijuana grown in the area and that certain groups or families were involved in it.
The open display of obvious criminal wealth was too much for Griffith furniture store owner and local aspiring Liberal politician Donald Mackay. Mackay was determined to stop the rot in his town, so he took matters into his own hands, gathering information and passing it on to the police.
Myself and my colleagues went and interviewed Don Mackay at his furniture shop in Griffith, And he told us about this particular property at Collyambley, and he drew us a mud map, if you like.
Armed with a mud map, the cops went to check it out. Back in 1975, Mick Drury was a young drug squad cop.
There was the local police officer in the paddy wagon with 2 other detectives from the drug squad in Sydney. Me being the junior police officer, I was on the motorbike in the front. As I was approaching the property, I could see a number of males running out into the bushland. And I grabbed a white Holden Ute that was a farm vehicle, and Glenn Ross jumped in the vehicle with me. And when we arrived at the plantation, 2 of the offenders obviously thought that it was a friendly car approaching. One we arrested. And one probably about 200 metres over to my left.
Hey, let him go!
Who came out with a shotgun in his hand. At that stage, the uniform officer, Bobby Houghton, pulled a rifle out of the paddy wagon.
Drop it! Drop the gun!
Fired it well and truly into the sky above the offender's head.
Drop it now! Put the gun down! Put the gun down! Put it down now! Get your hands up! Sit!
I see the car. I see the car. Spread your legs. Spread your legs.
There was a huge amount of marijuana growing there. I'd never seen anything like it. I'd seen marijuana crops up to 5 acres previous to this, but I'd never seen anything like this in my life.
It was amazing. It actually disappeared into the heat wave on the horizon. That's how large it was.
The find shocked Griffith. For Don McKay, it was a victory. For the Mafia, it was millions up in smoke.
It got to the stage where I think Don was ready to start naming the people in the big Collyambley drug bust, because the police weren't able to convict anyone of that big bust.
Donald McKay, the heroic family man who decided to take on the Mafia, didn't get his chance to name names. On July 15, 1977, Donald McKay's car was found in this pub car park. He had left his furniture store for a quick beer after work. Police found 3 bullet cases, his keys, and a pool of blood. His body was nowhere to be seen, and to this day has never been found.
Had obviously been murdered and disposed of by an organised crime group. It was historic. I don't think anything like that had ever happened in Australian history, and I think probably Australia grew up a little bit that day.
When the police first came to see me, I just knew straight away when they told me what they'd found that Don had gone. I know that many people in high places say publicly there is no such thing as organised crime and corruption in New South Wales. Now, if they think that that's what the ordinary people in the street believe, they're right out of touch.
2 years after the disappearance of Donald McKay, the town of Griffith was turned upside down when the Woodward Royal Commission was set up to investigate drug trafficking and McKay's murder. Attempts from the press to interview some of those named were met with hostility.
We're looking for Dominic.
Yeah, hi Dominic.
Dominic Sergi.
Yeah, what do you want?
You're the one that was in the Royal Commission.
Put him in there, alright?
No.
Put him there, alright? I'll put it in the car. Stop. I'm gonna put it in the car.
Why won't you answer the
Shut up. Stop.
It was 10 years after the assassination of Don McKay before James Bazley was convicted of conspiring to murder him. But true to the Mafia code of silence, Bazley told the police nothing. He served 15 years. Also named in the Woodward Royal Commission, but never put away, was Robert Trimboli. He fled to Ireland. As attempts were made to extradite him back to Australia to face charges in 1987, Trimboli turned up dead in Spain. He was brought back to Australia for burial.
Now what? Get it away, all right?
Trimboli's funeral in Sydney is best remembered for the absurd punch-up between members of the family and the media.
Oh, yeah. Get up, Scotty. Get up. Get out! Get out! Come on, hey. Come on, hey. Come on, hey.
Stop it! Stop it! Come on!
Pretty hard way down a bucket.
Coming up, for undercover cop Damien Marrett,
How are you, mate?
an unwelcome surprise. The Mafia sends a deadly message that shocks the nation. And a recent massive ecstasy haul confirms the next generation of Mafia is still taking care of business.